Unpacking is a peaceful unboxing sim that made me rethink storytelling and gaming. Moving is a life-altering event to say the least. Uprooting our way of life can be both scary and exciting. A new place or change of scenery can be just what we need to get out of a slump, but we can just as easily end up in less than ideal circumstances. Unpacking encapsulates all these feelings and then some. On the surface, this game is simple. Take this item out of a box and put it wherever you want. Once you complete a box, you fold that one up and start the next one. While the premise might sound uninspired, there's so much passive storytelling in the environment. For starters, this game has a good sense of continuity and progression. We live this girl's life over 21 years. Each stage in her life is accompanied by a stellar track that perfectly sets the mood. The gameplay itself is very peaceful and relaxed. Unpacking takes time, so there's no rush. Where this game shines is in its psychological elements. Playing as this girl, we get to see how their perspective and values change over time. Toys or games that have made 3 or 4 moves are nowhere to be found. These sentimental items don't have the same worth because the user is at a different point in her life. Plus, unpacking is educational as well. When the main character ages, her agency changes. In our first room, we can decorate however the hell we want, but when we move in with others, our freedom is more limited. So today, I wanted to talk about what makes unpacking so good. I'm Very. If you enjoyed this video, like and share with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit that sub button and notification bell so you always see my latest content. We start the game as a child. Decorating our room, we can piece together bits of information. Our character is a girl who loves horses, plushies, music, and reading. Once we move into our first place, our sense of identity begins to form. The protagonist is now in university. This unboxing experience feels different compared to the first. A sense of liberation, yet trepidation of what the future holds. A few items come from our old room, like our Rubik's Cube, toy car, and iconic pig plush, but our character has new hobbies as well. They have an interest in art, not to mention they're definitely a furry. Our environment is unique as well. Instead of hearing the calming sounds of nature, we hear the hustle and bustle of the city. After graduating from university, we move in with some friends. Here we find our passion for board games, fashion, and D&D. Once we coexist, we begin to notice the freedom we lose. These rooms are pre-furnished compared to our last homes, signifying the sacrifices we make in agreeing to live with someone. After rooming with our buds, we decide to move in with our boyfriend. Even though it seems like a magical place, we don't feel at home in the same way. We decorate an almost filled room. In a way, this dynamic almost makes us get the vibes we are guests. Although, our hero grows along the way. Now she loves playing ukulele, and her chicken collection is legendary. Unfortunately, things don't work out, and for a short time, we must return home. Unpacking our room for a second time doesn't feel as exhilarating. This part of the game has a melancholic vibe. The music seems more dreary, but good things are right around the corner. A fresh start after a brief fallback. As we continue throughout the story, our collections of memories keeps expanding. Then, we make our final move. After settling down with our girlfriend, we start a home together. In our final house, we get the fullest picture of who we are. A thriving artist, a caring chicken mama, but most importantly, someone who is finally done unpacking. The most powerful thing about unpacking is the world building. Every detail in the game tells us something meaningful about the characters or the environment. Collections of items give us a better idea of the protagonist's interests. The windows always provide a constant influx of information. When are we unpacking? Where do we currently live? Even the photos scattered throughout each area tell a story. When a picture is stored in a cabinet, we can infer that she went through a bad breakup. A subtle storytelling style works perfectly in unpacking. Part of the joys of moving is not knowing what's in each box. The same is true when playing this game. Every item changes the way we conceptualize our room. Shoot, guess I gotta rearrange again. This game benefits from its open style gameplay. Narratively, our story can feel unique depending on which box we open first. Unboxing the bathroom first might add significance to an item in the living room, and vice versa. A cryptic story also encourages the player to work more. Rather than be hand-fed the story, we have to piece it together ourselves. For example, my girlfriend pointed out that she owns an Azores board game, which pretty much guarantees she's Portuguese. Finding little details in the environment makes unraveling the narrative more rewarding. The way we decorate our house can tell us a lot about our value system. Looking at the first and last home in this game, we can easily tell which one is which. As children, our experiences and interactions with the outside world are limited, so our hobbies and interests reflect that to some extent. Playing with simple board games or plushies can excite us like no other, but as we age, these behaviors can change or augment. Her ravenous interest in board games stays consistent throughout her journey. Rather than play alone, she now plays D&D with her friends. The same is true when thinking about her career as an artist. Or how about her interest in reading? Many of our most formative moments happen when we are developing. The toys and games we use as children shape our perspective tremendously. Her environment directly changes her preferences and mental health. Each time she moves, she's a different person than before. Hey, when did you learn how to play ukulele? Aging also helps with emotional maturity. Living with others can be extremely difficult. Certain levels of compromise are required that need psychological development. Unpacking is a great educational tool for this reason. By playing this game, we can learn so much. The act of unboxing shows how much work moving is. We better understand the direct relationship between our living conditions and our mental health. As someone who's moved a decent amount, unpacking resonates with me in a unique way, especially in regards to its music. Moving brings in a slew of mixed emotions. On one hand, it's a fresh start, which is so exciting, but leaving my current place always hurts. Even when I lived in an apartment filled with roaches, that place was still my home. Unpacking perfectly encapsulates the emotions associated with moving. Every note the main character leaves gives us an idea of how they feel. The dread that comes from having to move back home, or the excitement of starting university. Music helps a lot with conveying these emotions. Every song adds so much meaning to the house we live in. In our first home, the song Child's Play sets the stage. This track sounds otherworldly, demonstrating the illustrious imagination of children. Own 2 Feet shows our personal growth thus far. The uplifting melody makes us feel like we are ready to take on the world. University, here I come. Although our girl's life is pretty good, she does face some adversity. Lost and Found highlights the negatives of moving. If I could sum up this tune in one word, it would be disappointment. Sometimes, moving doesn't go as planned. The final song is perfection. Unpacking a life is too good. Every lyric talks about what's been going on in game. Even though we know this ukulele has some bad memories associated with it, we play it proudly, singing our song to our love. One thing we might not realize when we grow up is our differing levels of freedom. When unpacking as children, we can do whatever we want. I can smear my own poop on the walls and no one can stop me. Let's go. Although, this freedom is primarily extended to the confines of our room. Children have almost no choice or say in their lives. Much of what we do as kids comes from our parents. Once we get older, we have more freedom in our lives, but less in our living circumstances. Most people have to live with others for financial reasons, so we have to accommodate in some shape or form. Unpacking demonstrates the complications of living with someone through the gameplay. When we live independently, the world is our oyster. My uni room is dope, but when I move in with my boyfriend, what the hell? Where am I supposed to put my things? Understanding these changes in lifestyle is such an important concept to internalize. Living with others is no small feat. Many relationships struggle during this phase because of the added stress. Luckily, change helps in this process. When we live with more people, our tolerance also increases. We become more accepting of certain behaviors and less of others. Accommodation is a fine-tuning process, but as we mature, we develop a better radar for what we want. Unpacking almost serves as a microcosm of itself. As we unbox, we unpack bits and pieces of who we are and what we want from life. Thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. Unpacking, for lack of a better word, helped me unpack some of my unresolved feelings about moving. This game is powerful in a pretty unique way. As gamers, we become accustomed to having the story tossed in our faces. But this game compellingly changes the formula. Gameplay, stellar music, and amazing art design each tell their own story. Life isn't always easy, but unpacking is always exciting. Have you heard of this game? If you've played it, did you like it? I'd love to hear from you.